I had mentioned before that I was a personal trainer for years. Since I chronicled my journey to losing 100 pounds, I figure it's worth chronicling my personal training career. I might split this video, it might be really long. I don't know. We'll see. So, if you haven't seen that video of how I lost 100 pounds, I would recommend it because this video kind of works as a direct sequel of sorts because it happens right after all that. So, uh, after I lost all that weight, I was still active and I was working a job at Yankee Stadium in New York. So, Yankee Stadium, you know how sports fans are, a little crazy. One day, one guy got really upset with me because I didn't take my hat off during the national anthem, even though I'm bald and it was hot as fuck. And he tattled on me, basically, told my supervisor. I didn't really get in trouble or anything, but I was like, this is dumb. This is legitimately dumb. I don't want to do it. So on the way home, I think it was that day or the day after, I'm thinking, I've spent the last few years learning about fitness and getting myself better. Why don't I just do something like that? And then I was like, okay, I'm quitting tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, whatever. So I did that and I started studying for my certification with the National Academy of Sports Medicine, a highly respected one, at least when I did it. I don't know what the standings are these days. But I studied for that. I forgot how long it took. 2 months? 3 months? I have no idea. Not longer than 3 months, though. I think it was two. I don't know. Anyway, did that, took the exam, passed, and I got my certification. While I was studying, I asked at this gym called Blink, which is much more popular now than it used to be when I started. I asked, hey, you guys hiring? They're like, yeah. So I was like, okay, I'll get back to you in a couple of months. I'm getting my thing, my certification. I'll work here instead of just coming here. So I did that, got the interview. I told them, oh, I lost weight. They were like, wow. By the way, if you lose like a bunch of weight, when I lost 100 pounds, and I put that on my resume, basically, that gets you basically any personal training job you want. So did that, started. I was just thrown to the wolves, honestly. They didn't help at all with anything. The certification didn't help that much either. If I'm being real with you, it helps with the science of it. But it helps with the science of it, so you understand what you're supposed to be doing, scientifically speaking. But the programming aspect, what you're having your clients do day to day, didn't help at all for me, unless they updated the textbook quite a bit. It didn't help at all. So I was thrown to the wolves. I had to figure stuff out. I was not a good personal trainer to begin with. I'll be honest with you. I was learning from trial and error. Never hurt anyone, thankfully. Not to say I was like the worst guy ever. I mean, people did make progress with me, but compared to what I became later, I was straight up fucking stupid back then. So I did that. And with Blink, they had this scheduling service, which is such a pain because you had to get the client to sign every single time. And if they forgot, well, you got to either, do something funny or have a manager sign off on it or something. It's a real pain because a lot of these people are late, so you're kind of rushing, and then you have to head them out the door, and yeah, it's a lot of issues with the scheduling there. So like I said, the actual programming I learned as I went along wasn't too great, but stuff that I did learn was a bit more about selling. The unfortunate thing about being a trainer is that it is like 90% selling. If you're a great salesman, you can make a lot of money as a personal trainer. I was not a great salesman. I really actually wanted to help people out and make money, enough money to live, obviously. I did not make enough money to live. I was living with my mother, so I was good, but man, so little money. Anyway, what I learned about salesmanship there is that, man, people can tell you everything in the world. They can say, "Oh man, this sounds great. I'm gonna do it. I want to do it. Let's do it." Until there's a contract signed or you're seeing them for the first session, or the money's in your hand, whatever comes first, nothing they say matters. Period. Nothing. All right. No matter how enthusiastic, none of it matters until they're there with you for that first day and you're paid. Just keep that in mind. What I also found out is people really, really, really like to cancel last minute. They like to be late. They like to not listen to you in terms of nutrition and then blame you for it. So that's pretty cool. They like talking a lot. Now, I don't mind this too much. Like, honestly, you'd be surprised at what people are willing to tell you. It's almost like you're a psychiatrist or something. People just really, or a therapist, people just tell you whatever because they understand that they're kind of in a position of vulnerability because they're trusting you in a way with their body, and you're probably not going to ever meet their friends or family, so they feel like they can tell you some stuff, right? Some people go too much and they talk a lot and they don't get their work done while we're there. And it's hard to say, hey, can you shut up and do the thing when they're paying you? It's like, okay. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I learned a lot about people's habits and scheduling. It's just, man. Yeah, you have an early morning client. You wake up, here's the email, text message. Hey, I'm not coming in today. Cool. Now I have to make the decision. What time did they do this? Was it under 24 hours? Great. Now I have to tell them this counts. You're not getting this money back. Or if they're going to have to either stick with that decision, which is policy, or I can say, okay, we'll make it up a different day and then do it on my own time so I can still get paid. Or so I can still have them do that session and then the payment still goes to me. Or if I do want to stick with that, say, hey, you lost it, we'll do the next one. Then you have to risk them being all pissy and then just not coming back anymore. So it's tough. Oh, God. The great thing about working at a gym is that in between the downtime, you do get access to a gym. So you get to exercise, you get to be your best physical self. That's pretty cool. The other cool thing about working at a gym as a personal trainer is that you need a second job usually. So I worked at a YMHA, which if you don't know is basically a YMCA, except the H is for Hebrew as opposed to C being Christian. So a Jewish YMCA, basically. Very nice facility. That was a really chill job. Really, really cool. Just the people there didn't really go for training because they were 50 or 50 or higher or children, and it's a little tougher, most people when they're 50, at least in America, they're like, I'm done being active, it's fine. And for children it's like, oh, just run around and play soccer, which is fine too. But yeah, I had both those jobs at the same time. That's how I was able to do anything at all financially. And I did both of those for about a year at the same time. And then I'm gonna cut this. I'll do the other stuff next time. And then I went to Blink's daddy. I applied to Equinox, the rich people gym, and I got in. And that was a whole new world of personal training, good and bad. I'll get into that later. I don't like videos going over 10 minutes too often. It's like when people see those 4 digits, it's like, I don't want to watch that. So I'll just cut it up now. It's fine. So next time I'll talk about Equinox and what that was like.